Hi everyone and welcome to the first power pause of 2026. First of all, Happy New Year. I hope the year has begun with a sense of purpose or at the very least curiosity for you all. For those of you who are joining me here for the first time, I am Smita D. Jain, an executive coach, personal empowerment life coach for senior leaders, author and speaker. I work with senior professionals and CXOs to help them communicate their minds with confidence, lead with impact, and thrive in careers they love, whether stepping up or reinventing their path. This session is part of the Power Pause, a monthly leadership space that I started last year, where we slow down for 30 to 40 minutes to reflect, realign, and reset our month. This reset does not happen with theory, but with real stories, real challenges, and clear next steps you can apply to your leadership journey. And today, I'm kicking off the year with a big one. Make clarity your leadership advantage. Why your goals don't stick and what to do instead. Now, before moving further, an invitation to you. Please feel free to drop your comments or questions in the chat that you see based on where you are joining from, mostly from LinkedIn. You may also be joining from YouTube or Facebook. Please drop your comments. I will be taking pauses regularly during this Power Pause talk with you all to answer your questions and reply. Even otherwise, I will be reading all your comments and dropping them later if I can't for some reason address them here. Now, coming to the subject, make clarity your leadership advantage. Now, let's be honest. January is full of ambition. Dashboards, planning meetings, goal decks, energy is high, intentions are everywhere. But by February, something shifts. Priorities collide, calendars overflow, and many leaders, even the most high achieving ones, find themselves quietly asking, I'm busy, but am I really moving? Am I busy in things that really matter? So that's what today's Power Pause session is all about. We are going to talk about why goals don't stick. It's not because you lack discipline, but because clarity gets diluted in the noise. And more importantly, what to do instead to make our goal stick. So, before we dive in, let me begin with a reality check. Every January, as leaders, we begin with the best intentions. Fresh goals, clear plans. I have also made my plans for this year, end of December. So we all have fresh goals, we have clear plans. There's a sense of this is the year I get ahead of things. And yet, as research consistently shows, nearly 80% of New Year goals fade by February. We are not talking of end of the year December here. 80% of New Year goals fade by February. Take that. Now, when as leaders this thing happens to us, the instinctive reaction is often self-criticism. I need more discipline. I should have been more consistent. Others seem to manage this better. Why can't I? Now, here's what I have learned after 14 years of being a leader and then 5 years of coaching senior leaders. The issue isn't motivation, it's diluted clarity. I will repeat that again. The issue isn't lack of motivation, it's diluted clarity. Now, let me give you a real example to explain what I mean here. So, sometime in the middle of last year, I was working with a senior leader, a business head. So, January had began beautifully for him. This I'm talking about last year. He had clear goals, he had his strategic priorities in place. He basically had a well thought out plan for the year ahead. And when he came to me sometime in March and April, or April last year, I don't remember what time it was, The talk in our session sounded very different from how he had started his year. So he's told me, Smita, I don't know what happened. I'm constantly firefighting. My calendar is full, my days are packed, but I feel like I have lost sight of what actually matters. I have no time to focus on strategic matters. So, nothing had gone wrong here. There was no failure, no lack of effort. What had actually happened was this: clarity didn't survive contact with reality. Urgent requests crept in, last minute meetings multiplied every day. Everyone wanted a piece of his time. He was a senior leader after all. And slowly, almost invisibly, his goals stopped guiding his week. His week started guiding and hijacking his goals. Now, this is where I want you to pause and listen to me carefully. If your goals don't guide your week, they cannot shape your year. I will repeat that again. If your goals don't guide your week, they cannot shape your year. Excuse me here. And this is not a personal flaw, it's a leadership challenge of our time. Most senior leaders I work with are not undisciplined. Of course not. That's why, otherwise, they could not have reached where they have now. So they are not undisciplined, they are overloaded. They don't need more goals, they don't need more motivation. They need fewer clear anchors, anchors that align what you say yes to, what fills your calendar, where your energy actually goes. Because leadership clarity isn't about doing more. It's about deciding what truly deserves your attention and then protecting that space to do those things that deserves your attention. And that's what we are going to go through together today. Now, before I dive into the heart of this session today, let me take a pause and see if any of you have any questions. Hi Sheetal, good to see you. Yeah, hi Salish. It's interesting. So every month now since the last, so this is Papa session 9. I've been meeting you since the last 9 months here. And how most of you do drop in a hi, hello, do drop in a comment. But when it comes to questions, I find most of you are reticent. I wonder why. Please feel free to ask anything. Okay, I will pause in a little bit to take your question. But for now, let's move on. Okay, so moving into the heart of this session, I'm going to share with you how you can turn clarity into a real leadership advantage, because clarity is a skill, mark my word. It's not just a nice idea you set aside by February. You can use clarity to build your advantage. Now, this part I'm going to share with you, this is where clarity becomes real, not just a buzzword. It's how you ingrain clarity in your leadership routine, which you can live by. I'm going to walk you through 5 clarity insights I share often with my clients. Not in like manner like this is what you want to take care of. That is not how coaching works. But through different sessions, different parts of what we discuss, these are the insights that often come that I share with them. And today I'm going to share it with you at one go. And more importantly, how to act on them starting today itself once you go through this. So ready? Here's insight 1. If everything is a priority, nothing is. Let me start with a common trap. I have been coaching this senior marketing leader for quite some time now. Brilliant, driven, respected in her organization. But her calendar inevitably is packed. Every hour, double booked. Her to-do list, a graveyard of competing goals. So at one point in time, now of course it's much better because we have been coaching for some time, but at one point in time, everything felt urgent for her. Everything felt important. Until I asked her during one of our sessions, what are your top three priorities for Q2? So that was last year, Q2. She went silent. Not because she didn't have goals, but because there were too many. So many that she wasn't sure which ones deserved her most attention. And that's the mistake I see most leaders make. And here's the truth I have learned again and again. The ability to decide what matters most is what separates a reactive manager from a clear-eyed leader. So this is the action that I want you to undertake. Right after this session, I want you to write down your top three priorities for Q1. This is a good time. We are just beginning the year. Write down your top three priorities. Now here's the twist. I want you to say them aloud without reading them. If you can't say your top three without notes, they are not yet clear enough to guide your day. And if you can't guide your day, how will you guide your team? So write down those goals and then say them aloud without referring to your notes. Your top three priorities for Q1. So that was insight 1. Insight 2. Translate your vision into calendar entries. So you've heard me say this before. Intent without time is just a wish. A founder client I work with had this incredible product roadmap some time ago. Deeply thought through, it was a very powerful vision. But in one of our sessions, he came to me frustrated. Smita, I feel like I'm doing so much, but my key goals aren't moving. So we looked at his calendar together. The strategy blocks missing. The product priorities constantly pushed. So it was a new thing. There was no, of course it was important, but there was no timelines attached. So it wasn't urgent. As a result, urgent meetings were taking over his calendar, and the meeting for this product priorities was constantly getting pushed. His time was being stolen by operations and reactive tasks. Now here's the shift I guided him through, and I offer it to you too. Your calendar should reflect your convictions. If something is truly important, it deserves space before the week begins, not after everything else is filled. So the action for you. This week, block 30 to 60 minutes for one key Q1 goal. Not to think about it, but to move it. Don't wait for the perfect window. Create one. Because what gets scheduled gets real. So that was insight 2. Moving on to insight 3. Communicate your clarity. Clarity is not just a personal asset. It's a leadership signal. You are a leader after all. You lead a team. Even if you are an individual contributor, there are a lot of cross-functional stakeholders you will be working with at your level. You might know what matters to you, but does your team know? I worked with a CXO last year who had great clarity privately. But the team, they were guessing, confused, prioritizing the wrong things. And this CXO was frustrated. Why don't they get it? The answer is, clarity that stays in your head helps no one. As a leader, your clarity must become contagious. So the action step for you with regards to this insight is, take 15 minutes this week to share your 2026 priorities with the rest of your team. In a crisp update, it can be, depending on your team size, it can be a virtual or in-person meeting. It can be an email. It can take a town hall form based on the role that you're working at. Even better, after you communicate your priority, ask your team to repeat it back in their words. If your team can't echo your top 3 goals, you are not leading with clarity. You are leading with hope. And hope will not get you While hope is a positive emotion, it will not get you anywhere. I don't want you to lead with hope. I want you to lead with clarity. So that was insight three. Before I share my other two insights, let me take a pause and see if any of you have any questions for me. Hey Suresh. No, don't worry. So, I think you're joining for the first time. So, after the event is over, the replay will be here right at the link. So, you can go to, you can come to my LinkedIn profile, you can click on events, and you can see PowerPoint Session 9, the name of today's session, and you can watch the event again at your convenience anytime. So, the replay gets automatically available. So, don't worry if you haven't been able to capture everything through notes. You're welcome. Yes, you got it right, Vinita. Action is absolutely the key. So while you are spending 30 minutes with me here, and thank you so much for that, the recency effect will wear off after 2 hours itself. So unless you decide to take certain actions, you need not do all five that I'm suggesting to you through my insights. Even if you act on one of them, it will make a big difference. Ultimately, I want y- your goals to stick and you to be able to achieve the progress that you envisage. So, all the actions suggested here will help you in that direction. Okay, seems there are no more questions. Let me move on. So, here's insight 4: remove before you add. As leaders, we often think clarity comes from adding more structure, more tools, more planning. But true clarity also comes from subtraction. So last year, I coached a CEO who felt stuck. His team was tired. Revenue of his business unit was flattening. Flattening. When we reviewed the business, we found he was running 7 new initiatives that he had started last year alone. So I asked him which of these were actually moving the needle. 3 were, 4 were draining energy. He paused, then made a tough but the smartest call. He shut down the 4 that weren't delivering. What followed was extraordinary. His team had more focus. The remaining 3 initiatives took off. So, clarity isn't just choosing what to pursue, it's also courageously deciding what you will stop. So, here's the action for you. What's one thing you will stop doing in 2026? It can be a meeting, it can be a process, it can be a project. Not because it's bad, but because it's not essential. Create space for what matters by letting go of those that don't. So that was insight 4. And insight 5, last but not the least, anchor your goals to how you want to feel. Now I want you to take everything that I have just said one step deeper. Many of us have head goals, targets, KPIs, outcomes. But we forget to set heart clarity. So, I had a client who told me once, I don't want more success. I have had enough, and I know that is a good position to be in. So, I don't want more success, but I want more steadiness. Another said, I want to feel energized again. That feeling, that's clarity too. Because how you want to feel will shape how you lead. So here's the action for you. Pick one word for 2026. A word that anchors your energy, your leadership presence, your choices. Maybe it's steady, maybe it's bold, maybe it's intentional. My word for 2026 is ease. So think about this one word that you would want to feel, and Once you are clear about this word, put it somewhere visible. Let it guide your week just as much as any metric. So that was Insight 5. Now I would like to pause here for a moment before we head into the wrap up and would like to ask you, which of these 5 insights spoke to you the most? Drop it in the comments and let's carry that clarity forward together. In fact, I will pause for a few seconds here and see if I get any comments. Which of these 5 insights spoke the most to you? Heart clarity, feel. Yeah, I know that's very different from what a leadership book or any leadership coach usually tells you. Subtraction, yes, that's a key one. I have decided in 2026 I am subtracting a lot of things from my plate in order to give time to what really matters. Yes. Heart clarity, subtraction. Good. Writing down your goals, saying it aloud. Yes, absolutely. Great, thank you. So let's take a deep breath in before we move on. Breathe in, slowly let it out. So we have covered a lot today. But then clarity doesn't overwhelm, it simplifies. So before we close, let me bring it all together. Here are the 4 truths I want you to carry with you into this week, this month, this year. First, clarity isn't a one-time decision. It's a weekly practice, one that needs your attention before the chaos kicks in. You need to be clear about what you want to be clear about and where you need to spend on time on. Then only the needle will move. So that's why I say clarity isn't a one-time decision. Second, goals that don't live in your calendar are just good intentions in disguise. If it matters, it must be visible, period. Third, if your team can't repeat your top 3 priorities, you are still relying on hope, not leadership. Make your clarity louder than your busyness. And fourth, the clearer your story, the stronger your presence. And in 2026, presence is your power. So here's your Power Pause challenge for January. Whatever insights I shared with you, let's turn this insight into action week by week till next month, second Wednesday of next month, when I see you again for another Power Pause. So week 1, write down your top 3 priorities for this quarter, Q1 2026, and block time for them in your calendar. Start simple. 1 block for 1 priority is a win. Week 2, craft your 2026 intent statement. Just 1 or 2 lines. How do you want to feel this year? Let that be your leadership compass. Week 3, share your clarity. Send 1 clear message to your team or manager. Your top priorities aligned with your goals. Lead out loud. And week 4, eliminate 1 thing that no longer serves your direction. A project, a meeting, a task. Create space for what matters most. And if you are with me, drop a comment, challenge accepted right now. Let's show off for each other and for our future selves. Now, before I close today, if you would want to go deeper, there are 2 simple next steps for you, a deeper beyond this session, that is. First, you can download my leadership blind spots assessment. I'm going to drop the link right below on LinkedIn in the comments of this event. So the leadership blind spots assessment will help you identify what's working, what's not, and where clarity is leaking without you realizing it. Second, if you are ready to align your leadership story, priorities, and presence for 2026, book a one-on-one strategy session with me. Let's create a plan that sticks. And so that's the comment for the strategy session. The link to the strategy session, I will be dropping that in the comments as a second comment right here on LinkedIn. Thank you, truly. Thank you for starting your year with intention. This is the kind of pause that builds momentum, not just motivation. You will see me back next month with another power pause. But until then, lead with clarity, speak with purpose, and make this year count. Take care and happy 2026.